Hello, greetings from the motherland, aka Putin world. Today I'm talking about the 2 days on my European vacation that I spent in St. Petersburg, Russia with my wife. Very, I don't want to say surprised with this portion of our trip, but this was like, I don't know, it's kind of mixed about, do I really want to go to Russia? Is it safe to go to Russia? Just like all little things like that. But I came away with this being the second favorite portion of our trip compared to Norway being the only other place that I liked better than Russia. But Russia blew me away on top of their fine artwork, which you see right here in this picture that you're looking at. This guy was just begging to have a selfie taken with him, so I accomplished his life goal by doing so. Anyway, gonna blast through a lot of pictures here, give you a lot of details about what my wife and I saw and just my general experience and impressions of the motherland. So let's get to it. So according to our tour guide, she said there was about 20 some odd days of sunshine in St. Petersburg every year. Well, apparently we were there for two of them because the weather was gorgeous. First destination here is the palace at Peterhof. Oh my God. Anything that I saw in life that was extravagant was just far surpassed, at least from a physical place. By the way, you had to wear these on your feet to go through the palace. Unfortunately, there was no photography inside the palace, so I can't show you the artwork or the ballrooms, but there's a lot of the outside periphery that I can show you, such as the fountains and whatnot that you're looking at right now. This place, again, extravagant isn't even the word. Now, granted, I would look at something like this and I'd be like, how many people in, suburban Russia dropped dead because the government was funding places like this? But that's all beside the point. Okay, maybe that is a very good valid point, but that's beside the point for now. This place, and you got to see how it was run. Like the reason why the grass looks as just meticulate as it does, as just green as whatever, they had actual workers on their hands and knees pulling out any sort of weed or anything that wasn't actual grass. And just the level of upkeep into a place like this, holy shit. I mean, the pictures aren't even doing justice of how just gleaming it was from all the gold and the beauty of all the fountains and the sound and just the beautiful sunshine. Oh my God. Unbelievable. This is what the hydrofoil. This was the transport we used. You're actually taken over by, taken over, not physically taken over like a hostile takeover, but you're taken over to the other side of St. Petersburg on this, since it's the quickest route is over the water, by the Russian military, like the actual Russian naval members, fleet, whatever, bring you back over to the other side of St. Petersburg. As I was like, well, that's interesting that there's actual military people moving us from one side of the island to the other. But anyways, hydrofoil, very unique thing. It was insanely fast and like jumped up and down, and I was like, holy shit, this is a bit more than a little tugboat that you're used to getting into in like America moving across the harbor or anything like that. I was like, wow, this was interesting. Just various places that the bus stopped at. Every time we got out of the bus, our tour guide would say, "Watch out for pickpockets. Be careful of pickpockets. Mind your pockets. The pickpockets are everywhere." This is where we had lunch at. Vodka was served at lunch, of course. I mean, I was like, wow, I'm not much of a liquor guy at lunch, but when in Rome, and my wife didn't want her vodka, so I had to drink hers for her, gladly. But anyways, just again, it was so beautiful. I was just so stunned by how great the weather was on this trip, except for Germany, where it was so hot. Oh my God! But we covered that in the last video. If you haven't watched that, I uploaded it last week or a couple days ago, whatever it was. And you just see random people fishing, just in the name of the river that runs through the center of St. Petersburg that I'm forgetting the name of. Interesting note that this river that runs through St. Petersburg used to freeze over completely all the time till around the mid 20th century, and due to global warming, it does not fully freeze anymore. I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thing to note. so I'm noting it. Anyway, um, again, look at the beautiful day there, people. My God, does Lady Luck follow me around or what? Interesting. Like you'd see architecture like this, like this thing paid homage to Poseidon, and I was like, wow, that's kind of unique. Like I wasn't expecting to see another culture's mythology represented in Russia, and I was like, oh, well, what do you know? There it is. This is the Church of Peter and Paul. Um, very, very unique experience here. And again, the level of extravagance. One of the most unique things on my entire trip, not just on this portion of the trip in Russia, happened here. Our tour guide had it arranged where our tour group was taken into a back room, not beat up and had our money taken or anything like that. Had us taken into a back room, and some of the um, I don't know if you want to say gospel singers, but some of the singers from the church gave us traditional Russian hymns in song to show the acoustics of the room that we were in. And it was about five of them, and the tenor, the alto, the bass, and the guy that was the bass was like the most scrawniest of the group, and like when he opens his mouth, you hear the like I can't do a deep voice, but anyways, you hear this big bellowing deep voice come out of him. You're like, holy shit. Anyway, just phenomenal. They wouldn't let us record anything, which we respected them in that, and we didn't want to get shot by AK-47s or anything. But anyways, okay, it's not that scary in Russia, people. It's really not that scary. Anyways, this church is where the tombs of a lot of the Romanovs are kept. If you don't know who the Romanovs are, the Russia, or the Russian Empire, if you will, was ruled by a royal family for a number of years, the Romanovs, before the Bolsheviks came in and literally murdered all of them. Like, just fucking said, we're done with you, we're done with the royal family, eat lead. Um, a lot of them weren't killed with bullets. But anyway, um, this is also, you probably heard the story of Anastasia. Like, does that strike any sort? Anyways, probably half of you are like, well, I've heard the name before. Anastasia Romanov was one of the Romanov children that was supposedly still alive. And for years on end, they didn't know if she was alive. Many women came forth and said that they were the real Anastasia. So they're like, okay, who's telling the truth? Who's lying? Is one of you actually Anastasia? Well, it turns out they didn't find that out for sure till they found the remains of the person they believed to be Anastasia, and they went back into one of these tombs to get the DNA. That must have been a pleasant experience, cracking open a tomb that's been there for over 100 years, to probably closer to 200 by that time, to get the DNA to match to see if the remains of this girl that was supposedly Anastasia matched, and sure enough, it did. Again, beautiful day. Just so interesting and fascinating to learn about the Russian culture. Here's a picture of the box art for Tetris. This is the Church of Spilled Blood, traditional Russian sculpting on the I don't know what you call those towers where they bubble out like that, the domes. Anyways, um, but it's just a very this church was very the quintessential Russian style of architecture. And a lot of the domes have the gold, and they glow and they shimmer in the light and all this. Well, they don't really glow. That makes it sound like they glow in the dark. But anyways, for a town that gets 20 some odd days of sunshine, you figure a lot of things would be emerald gold. This is someplace important that I'm forgetting. Sorry, Russia. Um, but where was I? Yeah, it was so interesting just to learn about the Russian culture and learn about the Romanovs, the Bolsheviks, the whole fact that they had little shady sex shops that I was like, should I go in here and check it out, or does this look like a place where tourists are killed in? I was like, let's go inside. No, I didn't go in there. I don't trust anything that you kind of like go down into. I don't know. It's just me. Now, a sex shop in a basement, I think. But I found it interesting, like, because my perception of Russia is a bunch of like like a lot of it's run down except in the major cities, and this is out going outside of St. Petersburg. You'd see big, thriving economic districts. Maybe that's just my American ignorance thinking everything was dirt poor. Not that I thought that they were just like dirt poor or anything like that, but I was surprised with how much things were built up outside of the city. This is St. Catherine's Palace. Holy shit, does she have a nice pad. Wow. Again, extravagant. The difference with this place and the Palace of Peterhof is Catherine's Palace lets you take pictures inside the palace, so we're actually going to see what the ballroom looks like, what the different artwork and everything. And to preface this, before we go into all these pictures of the inside the palace, and when we get to the Hermitage, which is a little bit later on here, you got to keep in mind a lot of these places were completely destroyed in World War II. So what you're seeing in a lot of these places, in some cases, like 90% of what you're seeing is stuff that has been completely restored by the communists. When the communists had power after World War II, or kept power after World War II, they built these places up again from scratch, from just pictures, from just memory of what things looked like. Like this entire ceiling was completely repainted after World War II because there was no ceiling left because this shit was bombed. And this ballroom at St. Catherine's Palace can be yours for rent for one night for the price of 100,000 euros. The reason why they're doing this is they cannot afford to keep this place open on their own, so they have to do things like this where they rent the property out to anyone that wants to do it. So if you want to have a wedding reception there, if you want to have some sort of social gathering, what have you, you can rent St. Catherine's Palace Ballroom out for you. And I wouldn't mind having a reception there if I had 100 grand in euros to spare, because it is like, again, these pictures aren't doing it justice, people. The amount of gold plating on everything and just the way it looks, like, I'm like, wow, like, holy shit, like gold fingers, wet dream type, holy shit. These are just some other rooms, and these things like you see in the back wall to the left, that's actually a heating unit, where on the other side there would be a fireplace, like where the servants would be stoking the fire, putting wood in, and the big like porcelain structure would heat up, and that's how they would heat the rooms. I was like, wow, I've never really seen anything exactly like that. I've seen similar things to that, but that was interesting, because like, it makes you wonder, like, how do you keep a palace heated in the wintertime if there's clearly not a fireplace in every room? And there you go, that's how you do it. You have the servants in the rooms on the other side that are, feeding the fireplace, and then that warms up, and then the heat just basically, dissipates into the room. And here's a shot of two of them side by side. So, this is probably the room you went into after you took a shower. You wanted the room really warm. I don't know. That's But anyways, that's a picture of Saint Catherine there on the wall. I think both of them are her, or Saint Catherine, Catherine the Great. I don't know. She might have been seen as a saint to some people in Russia. Again, another one of the heating units, and the just the how meticulous everything was. And this was like legit gold. This ain't just like gold flake spray paint that looks like gold. It is actual gold that the communists mined out and had everything plated with. Again, seeing this just in pictures, it does not do it justice. And that's one of the things like that I took away from this trip, was just how beautiful just a physical room could be. Like, I mean, you see beautiful things all the time, like the Grand Canyon or whatever, like, but when's the last time you walked into a room and went, my God, the amount of time and effort and just meticulation, if that's a word, holy shit. And even this, just the elaborate mulching and rocks. And I bet, actually, you can't see too many of them in this photo, but there's Russian police all over the grounds of these areas, as well as in the rooms. In the rooms, I had said to my wife, I was like, did you notice the guard in that first room we walked into in the palace? And she's like, yeah. I was like, well, she had about 30 twin sisters because it looked like, oh, by the way, if you look at the pillars, that's Atlas. There's numerous sculptures of Atlas holding up the, the symbol of strength of holding up the palace. This cluster of humanity is the entrance to the Hermitage. But anyways, going back to the police, anytime like you'd see like there, I don't know, it always seemed to be the Japanese tourists that would be doing this. They would like walk out onto the grass and like have their wife take a picture with the palace in the background. You would just hear whistles blowing constantly from the Russian police saying like, get off the grass, god damn it." But saying it in a very stern Russian way. But anyways, um, and as for inside the palace, like I said, all the all the rooms were guarded by someone that looked like someone else's sister. Just a fine gathering of very stern-looking Russian women that all looked alike. This is inside the Hermitage. This is a art museum, but as you're seeing, you don't really see much physical art, paintings, sculptures, anything like that. There, you see that eventually, but this is what like blew me away is that entire rooms were art, like entire rooms. You walk into a room and the whole thing is a masterpiece of art. Now, I personally don't give a flying fuck about art all that much at all. So like, it took quite a lot to impress me, and my god, the Hermitage more than impressed me. This hall right here was created during the Prussian era, and these are all dead generals that were killed that served in the Prussian army. And you'll see some of them. I don't think you see any on this. Like, okay, if you look near the dead center of the screen right now, you'll see a blank square. You see third from the right, third up, there's a blank square. That's because there has a name on that picture, but there's no painting in it. That's because they didn't know what the guy looked like. So, or there wasn't any rendered painting of him in existence, but they still honored him in this room by putting a blank rectangle up there with his name on a plaque under it. And just the grand halls and everything. And with the Hermitage, when you get to the end of the Hermitage tour, they show you pictures of what this place looked like. Doggy! Sorry, I love dogs, so I had to take a picture of a doggy. They showed you what this place looked like after World War II, because when the Soviets, or when the Nazis occupied St. Petersburg and they were forced out, they just bombed the shit out of these places and burned them to the ground. They was like, well, okay, we're losing the war. Okay, set fire. This was an area set to look like the works of Michelangelo. And what you're seeing up here, this whole corridor that was based on the works of, I think it was Michelangelo. Yes, because someone went to Italy and looked at the Sistine Chapel. Is that where the Sistine Chapel? I don't know. I don't know a lot about art, people. But anyways, this was all recreated to look like the works of Michelangelo. Someone's going to correct me like, no, it was Leonardo. I fucking kill me. Anyway, this, what you're looking at, was the only damage to this room during World War II. The rest of the Hermitage did not fare so well. One stray bullet came into this wing of the Hermitage and struck a mirror on the wall. They have left it up ever since. All right, so this damage was done in World War II. They've left it up ever since as a symbol of the damage war can do, and also the luck that there is in war. Because the rest of the Hermitage was fucking destroyed. And they showed pictures of this, like all you saw were just a few posts for the walls and just burnt out rubble. Ever seen a Michelangelo carving? Well, you have now. There you go. It's a Michelangelo carving. Cross that off the bucket list. Art doesn't do much for people. I was just surprised how close you get, because like if you wanted to, you could push that thing over if you wanted to. Like, you'd be like, I hate Michelangelo. Boom, you just shove that thing over. And these big tall pillars. These are like another thing. Like these are all carved out of stone, and they're up on like the third floor of the Hermitage. It's like, how do they get up here? This thing weighs like 21 tons and is carved out of one piece of like, I don't know, tanzanite. I'm just making up a rock. Anyway, They also explained why this is an active naval base that operates around when you're sailing out of um, St. Petersburg. There's active naval bases just in the middle there. But anyways, they also explained why the stairs are so short at the Hermitage. Like I never really thought of that, but I'm gonna like notice things like that. And, oh, this is the flood locks in St. Petersburg because they had a great flood that came in. Anyways, the stairs are so short in the Hermitage because it's easier to get heavy things up them. I never really took that in count, but then every time and ever since they said that, I realized, oh, that's why the stairs are only 8 inches off the ground, as opposed to like maybe a foot, like you would in a traditional American set of stairs. Okay, now I'm going to end here with a certain thing that I saw. Now, you may be asking yourself, why am I looking at the Archfiend's Twitter page? Well, I got to admit, I have a lawsuit in the works here. I'm going to be suing Russia for clear, very clear copyright infringement. Um, and I'm going to share this with you right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a look at my image that has been on Twitter for, oh, I don't know, 6, 8 years. All right. Very iconic image to the Archfiend. Solidifies the Archfiend. The Catman Ono's image of the Archfiend. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you something that's very heinous, and you're going to be like, I understand why you're suing Archfiend. Everyone, take a look at this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't think I need to make my case anymore. And I don't know what this says or what this is for, but I think it's pretty clear we got copyright infringement here. Would you not say so? I mean, take a look at my Twitter. Look at it. Like, hello? Anyways, I'm not suing Russia. I just found that interesting that just some like random billboard. I was like, hey, that looks like my picture that I use on Twitter and that I used as my thumbnail image on YouTube for a number of years, or my channel icon, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, oh my God, Russia, I had such a wonderful time in your country. I brought home a bottle of Russian Standard, which I actually just tried for the first time last night, and it is a fucking bomb ass vodka. Oh my God, I think I cut a year off my life doing a couple shots of that. But I needed to do that watching the New York Giants play last night. Fuck, you need a stiff drink to watch and enjoy them play right now. So anyways, Russia had a great time, 2 days in St. Petersburg. I highly recommend you go there if you get the chance. Highly. That's all I got to say for now. On second thought, maybe I should sue him. Bye.